Joining us now, Denver Rigglemen. He's got an announcement to make. As I said, this is like announcement days here on the John Fredericks Show. And this is all I need to tell you about Denver Rigglemen. All I need to tell you is this, is he's got two things in his hat. Number one, he shot terrorists. Number two, he makes whiskey. Need I tell you anything else? Denver Rigglemen, welcome, sir. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Fantastic. We understand you have a big announcement to make, sir. What is it?
John, you know I love you. My big announcement this morning is we're barreling bourbon. I'm still in the exploratory committee for governor. I want to do something pretty badly, but right now we still have our exploratory committee. Just came out of the back where we're putting bourbon in barrels, and we got some big meetings today. But John, I tell you, you'll be the first to know.
Okay, so you went to the Republican Advance. We saw you there. I didn't get a chance to make it up to your suite, but we did have a chance to meet and talk a little bit. What are going to be the factors now influencing whether or not you run for governor of Virginia? What are the things that you're still evaluating?
Well, this run for governor is really an interview with the people of Virginia. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. And we're evaluating if I'm not going to waste time for Virginians, my team, for the people that are trying to do this. We have some strong candidates out there. I'm very impressed by the people that I met, but I think I can still do a better job. I'm pretty sure of it. So right now we're evaluating if we have the funding and if we have the ability to put the team together. And what happened this weekend, it seems to me we do. So it was exciting. There was a lot of enthusiasm, and I'm excited to go forward.
What would be in a Rigglemen for Governor campaign, Denver? You've got three other candidates in there: Corey Stewart, State Senator Frank Wagner, and the front runner, in my opinion, no question, Ed Gillespie. I mean, in launching this campaign, is this going to be like a quixotic bid to just get out your message and raise an issue, or is it going to be a campaign to actually win the nomination?
Campaign to win the nomination. So you just hit the nail on the head, John, and you cut to the chase. The reason that I would be running would be to win, not to just share a message or to get a message out there. That's been suggested to me. That's why the exploratory committee is working so hard, that we're not running to just share a message or to make a statement. We're running to win. I think that's important.
Now, one of the issues you've got is that a lot of the good people, or the talent, let's say the political talent in Virginia that works these races, a lot of these people have been hired by either Gillespie or Wagner or Stewart, some of them, I guess, by Rob Whitman, who dropped out now, available. I mean, how would you go about getting a professional campaign team together in order to take this bid to the next step?
That's been the most pleasant surprise since I announced my intention, is to have somebody like Zach Worrell, Carlisle Gregory, many people who worked the Tom Garrett campaign and Brat campaign have expressed interest in working for me. I believe they believe in the message. There's a lot of talent out there. You're exactly right. I don't think all the talent's actually been mined, and we're mining the rest of it, and I think it's the best talent in the state.
If you get in the race, I mean, I'm just going to be blunt. How do you beat Ed Gillespie? Because he is, in our judgment, the prohibitive favorite. I mean, what would your message be? How do you beat somebody that's got millions of dollars, has put together an enormous staff? He has gone all over the state. He's now racked up all kinds of endorsements. How do you really compete with that and wage a credible candidacy, honestly?
Well, I heard the endorsement this morning. I've only heard good things about Morgan. So fantastic for Ed. But really what I need is the endorsement of the people. The voters are going to endorse you more than anybody else specifically. As far as the message, you're right. Ed's been going around the state talking to people, getting his message out the last 2 years is what I heard. The last 2 years, I've been working in the Department of Defense and starting companies. So I believe the message is this. Do you want somebody who's run a business? Do you want somebody who served their country, still is, more or less? Or somebody that goes around saying, this is what I'm going to do. So really it's about doers and people saying, this is what I'm going to do. I think it's between producers and the political class, and I believe I got the producers locked up.
Last time you were on, you just were sharing some of the horror stories of Virginia, the red tape and their bureaucracy and just trying to open up a business and hire people, and what a disaster it is. Would that be one of the tenets of your candidacy to show people, make them aware of what you experienced in Virginia and just trying to open up a business and hire people?
Yeah, I mean, the regulatory burden we faced, I think, is symptomatic of what everybody's facing in Virginia right now. It seems that any idea of improving business is giving money away, picking winners and losers, and not creating an environment where people can start a business without having to befriend some kind of political class person, which I had to do. Mm-hmm. So it started off as my personal experience, but that has changed. It's just a symptom of what's happening in Virginia, what's happening across the country, but Virginia specifically, because I am a Virginian, on how do we get spending under control? How do we cut taxes? But how do we get the government out of business, and how do we get the government out of people making decisions to better their lives? I think that's a pretty simple vision about how to do things. Now, and the execution could be complex, but it's a simple vision.
All right, so look, I want to cut to the chase here, Denver. It sounds like you might be making a decision soon. It appears that you're leaning towards running for governor. I put you in my analysis. I've got you as 12-1 as the outsider. But
so you're saying there's a chance, John. You're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, look, I mean, in today's environment, somebody comes in that, again, I mean, I think somebody called it, Zach called it the whiskey rebellion or something, but, you know, you shot terrorists and you make whiskey. I mean, that's a pretty compelling argument right there. So for people looking for something different, something outside the box, an outsider, you would definitely have that track without a doubt. The question becomes, you know, to win this thing with 4 people, you've got to get upwards of 30%. You're going to be outspent probably by a pretty significant margin. You don't have any political experience. You're also up against 2 other savvy candidates, Corey Stewart, everybody knows him, Senator Frank Wagner. Where's the lane for Rigglemen here?
Well, I actually think I'm the only viable option. The lane is somebody who's not a politico. You have 3 people who are politicians. That's simple. 3 people that this is their actual lifestyle. This is what they want to do. And I hold nothing personal against anybody. That's been their decision to live that life, to be politicians. I'm not. Now, it's going to be funny, John, that I'm going to be called one as soon as I officially declare. Mm-hmm. But right now I am not. I'm a businessman who thinks that being a politician is about advocacy and service, not about making deals to benefit other people in the inner circle. So that's why I think the lane is so big. Donald Trump opened up the lane. Brat opened up the lane. It's so big. I believe if I can go through the 2-hole and the tackle on the guard can push out the linebacker, I'm going to score. So I think people are ready for somebody who can execute a mission, not execute a plan to further to perpetuate the political party system here in Virginia.
Denver Rigglemen, how do you handle the criticism that, yeah, this is all an interesting kind of candidacy, but your learning curve is massive. You know nothing about state government, nothing about the budget, nothing about how committee chairmanships work and all that. I mean, that's the criticism that's going to come immediately, is that you basically have no governmental experience whatsoever. It's not like you're in the House or you're in the Senate or you're, you know, a supervisor. You don't have any. And you're competing with people that, as you say, they've been there a long time. How do you reconcile the fact that you have no government experience whatsoever, and now all of a sudden you want to lead a pretty major state?
Well, government experience hasn't seemed to help Virginia much the last 20 years as our economy continues to sputter. And I believe that the budget is a P&L with a pro forma. If you look at auditing, if you look how you do things, that's what business people do. They actually have to execute a mission and run a company. Mm-hmm. If you're doing something like that, you have to be able to read numbers. That's something I'm good at. What they're going to find out is that somebody who's run a business, who's done a B&O and pro forma, is going to know a budget quicker than just about anybody else who hasn't. Mm-hmm. I think that's very, very advantageous for me.
This campaign, we think, is going to be about jobs in Virginia. We've only got 2% growth here. What would be the Rigglemen plan for economic revitalization of Virginia?
First thing you got to do is look at the spending. You know, looking at other people and what they've done, if you go all the way back to our last balanced budget without raising taxes was, I believe, back in the 90s. I think what you have to do is look at the spending and where it's going, and you need to cut it. Good programs need to stay. Bad programs need to go. You can do forensic auditing. You can do anything you need to do to make sure the money is not going to places that it shouldn't belong. That's the first step. The next step is absolutely cutting the taxes and the duplicative taxes, the layering of taxes at each locality. It's funny, you said, you don't know about budgeting, don't know about government. Well, I've been living in this government for my whole life. I've been living under the tax codes that have been strangling Virginians. So I think at this point, if we look at specifically restructuring and reprogramming spending, and if we look at the duplication of taxes, things such as B-poll, M&S tax, if we look at business personal property tax, look at what Gilmore did to cut the car tax. That is a ridiculous tax. Things like that have stopped people from growing, from spending money, from growing the economy. This is not a hard problem. Stop cronyism, cut spending, look at reformulating the tax code. That has to happen.
Denver, what would be your message directly to Trump voters in Virginia who turned out in last March and gave him a pretty significant victory in Virginia? Many of us think that the Super Tuesday Virginia victory ended the Marco Rubio campaign. I'm one of those, obviously, because
yes.
I was leading it. And so what would be your message to those voters specifically?
I think political revolution has just begun. Trump was just the beginning. I think they're saying with his cabinet positions, business specific, I think they're looking at, it isn't politics as usual. We are a state that needs to stop politics as usual. So Trump wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. Just like if you look at Brat, look at anybody else who came in saying that the political class and what they're doing has to be stopped. I believe that's where we're at right now. So this is just the beginning.
All right. So when is the final decision going to be made? This sounds like a long, there's 2 times you've been on. It's very interesting, but it kind of looks like a teaser 1, son of teaser. When do we get the real deal?
Rambo 3. So we are so really what it comes down to, John, we got to make the right decisions for Virginians. That is what we're doing right now. You said something about messaging. I thought that was profound. I do have a message. I do have something to say. If we can change the conversation.
You have a minute. What is it?
Absolutely refreshing. But I want to run to win, so we're going to make sure we can.
All right. It's going to be the final word. Denver Rigglemen, when are you going to make your mind up?
Oh, my mind is about made up. It's my team that's making sure I have all my ducks in a row before we announce.
All right. So it sounds like you're going to run and you're waiting for the right timing to make the announcement. And well, this was a good job in getting on my show 2 times before you even announced. That was astute. I got to say that was very good. That was very good, Denver. Denver, you're getting airtime and you're teasing me. But the next time, buddy, it's got to be the real thing or I'm out. All right?
It is going to be the real thing. Not only the real thing. The next time I'm on your show, not only the real thing, but it's going to be a lot of fun, too. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you did at the Advance. I saw your table was full of people. It's obvious you're doing some good things, and I do appreciate that you're giving me the chance to come on your show.
Well, thank you so much. And I know you hired Zach Whirl as your campaign manager. Good guy, is a friend of mine. And Zach's good people, good thing there. We will see you soon. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network. Denver Rigglemen, sounding very much like a candidate for governor. Next time I get him on, though, it's got to be the real deal. This is the John Fredericks Radio Network, Trucking the Truth. We'll be right back.